We're getting really close now to executing a prompt that, when run, should do something interesting. And I felt like sharing it. So we're trying to do local business listing scraping. And so right now we're going to do the final query here, which says that we're going to combine our database with all world cities where we can grab by population, and then we're going to combine it with all of these search keywords, and then we're going to make sure that we dispatch that. We're going to basically enqueue into a RabbitMQ all of those terms for us to then go and crawl. So I'm going to attach that, and we're going to run it. Now, yesterday, I was sort of talking about, I think it was how detailed that we could get with prompting. And I wanted to show some of the results of that today. I believe it was in this window. Yeah. Let's see. Let's just make sure. Yeah, so this was definitely what types of things that we could put into a prompt, just to show like how advanced that we really can get with this stuff. And I just wanted to show or just test through the results of this tonight. Unfortunately with this one, and we can go pick one that does have this one. Unfortunately, we could pick one that has code to review, and I'll just show you kind of what my process is for how I iterate on code that I'm reviewing the quality of, and how I iterate if something is not to quality. But we now, like, this is the result of last night, and what I was able to get in the system is, and we'll just test it live right now, and we'll iterate actually in case anything doesn't work. So Microhost is a system that, on a fundamental level, I should be able to run this query micro list files, and then I'm getting the path as the API. So last night I wanted to streamline the CLI across all of these different types of functions. So all of them should now function where we have this console-friendly mode that by default, we're going to get, like, here's the package name, and then here's all the API files that it found underneath that. Of course, if we change this to component, we're probably going to get all the HTML files across packages in a slightly different listing. I typed component, not components. Yeah, this package has the most. But if I wanted to, for example, let's say list source files, and I'll put it into JSON. So one of the reasons that I wanted to put time into this, and I also just want to note, it's like, so here's all of the, we search for source files. This gives you like all of the JavaScript source files. If we wanted to as well, we could do just local. So we either getting our entire user space, or we're getting just the local files. And in JSON, if we wanted to, we could say by package. And now it should list by package all of the source files. Different file though. So we can see here the different packages that are underneath this. So this is an easy way to demonstrate how Microhost is very powerful. But the more specific reason that this is useful is that this is what LLMs love. And you want to build stuff that optimizes for the LLM, right? And so I just wanted to show that, like, you can kick something off to Opus, and with the right instructions, because remember yesterday I had showed and said that a lot of this is driven by instructions. So with the right instructions, it will do mostly what you want. And I mean, I'm saying that my overall error rate is very low. And then we'll go back and briefly check on this other prompt. So over here, okay, so it gave us a full function of what we could do. We'll ask it a question first. So we'll say, if I run dry run, can you limit how many are enqueued? separate note. Do not duplicate any crawl search request. Here, I'll make this a little bigger. Search requests, submissions. So we're asking right now, hey, if I run this, is this going to like crash the system or do a shit ton of processing? I guess I shouldn't have cursed, should I? If I run micro and cube local searches, and then sure, we'll run that. We already covered over here. We covered how we can run really large size prompts, how it works, how we build CLI specifically for our LLM. And then now we'll head over here where now we're going to head over to this one where we're going to review some code that the LLM has outputted. So I've already gone through a round of review a little bit. What I like to do is I might just say like remove new set and favor object and AST components. So I'll just go through and code review. I'll pick out patterns. These largely should have been formatted already. I look for things like if we're not in alphabetical order in the file. I review the code itself to make sure it's not, duplicating code that's already occurred elsewhere in the system. Here, I'll do another refactor. I do this unique thing in my system where, so I don't like files that are over a certain amount of lines. And so what I like to do in JavaScript, which is totally like not standard, I could totally respect if someone looked at what I was doing and said, Mike, you should just use a better, browser inside of the file. Like this is on the left here, a file browser. So, but I'm doing something a little bit non-standard, which is I like to divide up files into separate. I try to maintain clean code a few ways. So I'm looking at this right here. We have an AST parser, which means it's like a code analyzer, and we've built this custom Vue.js wrapper. And so here we're doing some probably regex type patterns on constructs in my Vue.js wrapper. I have these concepts of vprops, vdata, and they're just function calls, but they tell you a lot of useful meta information very quick. And so I guess what I'm trying to say is that in here, these to me should all be separate functions. Because I start to look at, for example, like analyze script starts on 225. It looks like it goes all the way down to 438. No way, we can't do that. So I'm going to show you how I use instruction files. So I know a lot of this is captured by the object merge instruction file. I'm going to tell it break up these into new functions. I have a quality and this is called the style guide file. So I'll just share those and I'll just sort of more passively, they're going to be reinforcers. They should sort of have avoiding redundant code. Should have like line numbers. One of these should talk about like, max number of lines. It could be this one. Let's look at line. This actually does cover the exact concept or topic that I had just mentioned. What's bumming me out is I actually don't see anything. It might be in the object merge file itself. So we'll go over how I find something where I'm like, oh, that's missing. It should be added. Everything I just said on camera here, like I can't find it in the instruction files as they are. So we're going to make sure that gets added. And here we'll say AST components class JS looks to be too long. We'll say, so this function up here is called analyze scripts. We'll say in analyze scripts, for example, each one of these blocks should be not only its own function, but we'll say, but it should live in a separate file that is merged to the main AST components. You could imagine taking the following code patterns blocks in analyze scripts and placing it into a feature class called what are we going to call this feature class? We're calling it AST component props class JS. Because technically it's like props is a very specific thing in Vue.js, so that's not like the best idea or choice of what to name it. But at the same time, yeah, what would I say? I'd say props is an overall, it's like a metadata. But I think I like props better than metadata. Because props is, props, data, I don't know what else you typically have. Methods, you're analyzing. But anyway, we're just reviewing the file. We're looking for things that we want to notate on it. I haven't reviewed this code yet, so we're doing this live. Meanwhile, we'll tab back over. We'll see what this is doing. And now it's saying it's provided us a limit function, so that feels safer to run. And so we'll just go to our console here. We'll run it. We'll see what happens. We'll get rid of this guy. Here it's saying it can't. It's saying it can't find a module, so we'll go back. We'll just say, did you use file system require? This is covered by one of the documents. File system. I'm being a little bit like demonstrative. Like I don't know. I would have just included this without even verifying that this is in fact the right file to include. Sometimes I'll just include baskets of these instruction files, and keep in mind, like, the real ideal way to run it is you want RAG extracting from these files on its own. Just a second. When I run your script with limit of 50, I get error. We'll go here, and then we'll just basically copy paste the error. We already, I think, paste the error right here. So hit enter. We'll tab back. All right, back to reviewing code. And I'm deliberately showing you guys what it looks like as I walk through how I tab between agents, because I think that's how you need to think about coding. If you want to be high performing, we'll say extract component usages looks like another candidate for a feature class. I'll even tell it. So I'm saying down here, extract, this function we're looking at, extract component usages, looks very similar. Like you can see it trying to process different rules and if statements and so on. It looks like it's also a long function. And then I'll tell the LLM, use your discretion about possibly breaking this one up. In general, the rule we want to follow is we want to, what are we trying to say? The rule we want to follow is we want to not have function points over a certain number of lines. Them up into separate functions, but we want to not have files exceed. Yeah, usually with absolute upper limit, or we want to consider the object merge pattern. And so here I'm really just, I'm informing the LLM about how to generate. I'm trusting the LLM already knows in its base model what it's supposed to do. I'm more or less attaching context through these instruction files. And then finally, I have an instruction file. When I want it to actually work on instruction files themselves, I'll attach the meta format descriptor, which we this is generally following Microsoft has in their VS Code documents. I can show you what the format looks like. There's nothing very special about it. All these instruction files it's a table of contents. I've made sure in the ones that I've put together, I want to have retrievable JSON that shows related documents. So I have the LLM just come up with it at its discretion. But then the rest of it is that we just break everything up into articles, because that's easier once you're downstream and you're doing RAG. You want to be able to chunk this stuff. I'm getting a little bit fuzzy or lost. So let's look at what this prompt is doing. It seems like it's just coming back with us with data. So I'll put that aside for now because we just saw that. We're almost done with this prompt. So we're going to kick this one off. Then we're going to task switch. So in general, the rule we want to follow. Okay, so final thing we want to say here is please update the object merge pattern file plus the style guide about these line length limits on functions and files and how to split off feature classes when hitting the file line limit. All right. And now we saw the other one finish. We're going to tab back over here. It's saying it fixed something. That's cool. We'll go try it again. Because the command that we ran before is what errored. So we're just trying again. Here it's saying to us, great, there's a dry run summary. So I'm not really clear. I think it's because, okay. Can you please offer a projection to how many combinations of, so it's basically telling us like how many cities that we get from our database and then how many queries we have. So we're going to ask it to modify, and we want to see the total number of combinations that we're going to be, likely to submit. Can you please offer a projection of how many combinations of cities and queries we will do? Place it into your console logs. And then what I'm going to do again is just to show when I write code, if there's a relevant instruction file, I will manually attach it. And I want you to keep in mind that, think of this like what I'm really doing when I'm doing all of this, and I'm probably giving way too much free value away here, but what I'm really doing is I'm actually verifying a system that will eventually be automated in RAG for quality assurance. So there's different ways, obviously, that in the AI space they talk about, assuring quality of the models. I definitely know that there's specific whole pipelines of like whether or not the LLM ships or not depends on its ability to pass tests. This is a much lower tech version. I'm just doing it by hand, getting to know the tools, and trying to see if it can effectively do tasks as though I would normally do them. So you can think of it like it's a manual, human in the loop form of training, but it's like I'm trying to capture my brain into the code. So we're just here, we're attaching this instruction file because we want to have it work on the console next. When showing dry run summary in anywhere else, even relevant, when dry run not fact. Okay, and now we're going to go check on our other prompt. It looks like it's still running. This would be kind of like this would be kind of the space in which I would again and again, like I would flip back and forth, and we would continue to make progress. But for me, it's fun just to show you guys a little bit each day. I think this video is running pretty long. I think we're at 20 minutes on this one. So this is just how I code. I'm just showing you guys into kind of like why I'm like so stoked on vibe coding, and why I think for me this takes literally things that would take me a week, like a rabbit hole that took me off of like my main path of trying to build and ship product. And it's condensing what used to take a week into half of a day. And so that's really exciting when it comes to my ability to like deal with my own risk and like runway and ability to how I really think about risk and like what I can tolerate when it comes to being in the market. I just wanted to show really quick that if I ran this query again, because this is kind of cool, it says that basically for our query, we get a total of 3 million combinations that we're going to go queue into the search engine. So probably next time we'll go over how this, the result of me running this, and we'll sort of go from there and showing what this might look like. And this is totally ad hoc. We're just having fun, but the goal of this is to build a data pipeline. So we're gonna go look at what that looks like next week or tomorrow, whenever I record next.